Hey there, welcome to Worth It Wednesday. Every Wednesday we send a principle worth learning, a question worth answering, and a recommendation worth taking. Today's principle is that there's a difference between fast fixes and sustainable solutions. There's a word for someone that no longer has any problems to deal with, confront, conquer, and solve. That word is dead. And so if you are facing problems in your life, in your leadership, in your business, you should rejoice because that means you're alive. And we could say, oh man, there's just always going to be problems and that's just depressing. That's not depressing. That just is, right? And that means we have work to do. Now, there's a distinction between the way that you respond to the problems that you face. And you can either react to them or you can lead through them. And that difference is also the difference between fast fixes, reaction, and sustainable solutions, which are leadership. Now, fast fixes, especially if you own or run a business, can be incredibly tempting because the fast fix is revenue's down, so I'm going to jump in and make the sale. A fast fix is the marketing team is struggling, so I'm going to hold a meeting and I'm going to inject some creative energy into marketing. The fast fix is, oh, that leader isn't holding their team accountable, so I'm going to jump in and establish structure and systems so that accountability is applied to their team members and things actually get moving and productive again. And those things can actually be really tempting and really gratifying because number one, you jump in and look like the hero. And then number two, you typically actually fix it, at least for the time being. But here's the problem. That problem will show up again. And when it shows up again, the solution will always be contingent and dependent on you. You've made yourself the bottleneck on solutions being applied in the organization. What's a better approach? Well, it requires more patience, requires more discipline, requires more strategic thought, more collaboration, more teamwork, more trusted people. But the more disciplined approach, the more mature approach is sustainable solutions. And sustainable solutions are always rooted in some form of the same question. How could we solve this problem in such a way that the solution isn't contingent on my involvement in the future? So certainly you can assist the team in establishing a solution, but you can't be the solution. As a leader, you've got to resist the desire and the impetus and the temptation to play the role of Band-Aid on every problem that comes up. Rather, you need to get creative and think critically and collaboratively with your team on how could we solve this situation and this problem in such a way that it's not contingent upon my involvement in the future. And you could say, okay, well, that's just selfish, right? I'm just trying to remove myself so that it just doesn't become a heartache for me. And yes, that's true. It's like if you're the solution to every problem, that just doesn't seem very healthy, sustainable, life-giving for you as a leader. But you know who else it's not good for? Your team. Why? Because they are trustworthy, competent, engaged adults, and you think they feel valued and engaged at work whenever they're not given the freedom and the ability and the empowerment to make decisions, take actions, and actually solve problems themselves, but actually they're put in a situation that anytime there's a problem, they have this impetus and this impulse because you train them just to come to you. It's not helpful. So sustainable solutions, why do we avoid them? Well, they take more time, they require more patience, and a lot of times it's more difficult. It's brain work instead of just work ethic. But the good news is just like their name says, they're sustainable. They're sustainable for you personally, but also they're sustainable for the business organizationally. There's a difference between fast fixes and sustainable solutions. Let's go.